What is going on, guys? Welcome to TJ Mitchell Films, your one-stop shop for everything Jeep and off-road related content. And today we're going to be doing two different types of light bar installations. We're going to be putting one down here on the bumper and two up underneath the windshield using two very different styles of wiring. So let's jump into it. So this is everything we're going to be installing today. This light bar and these pods are from Auxbeam. And the first one we're going to install is this 12-inch light bar. And now we're going to be using the factory plug that came off the stock bumper that had the fog lights. And we're going to wire this together so that way inside the cab we already have a button for the fog lights. Super simple. Now over here for the pods, these are the brackets that we're going to be using to mount them underneath the windshield. And for the wiring, I found this on Amazon, and we will have a button inside the cab that we can turn these on with. But also something I thought was really cool is we will have a little clicker. This has a couple different functions on it. I think it has like a strobe, a couple strobes on and off, obviously. Everything you guys are seeing here can be found down below in my Amazon store at no additional cost to you. But if you buy anything, it does support the channel, and I greatly appreciate that. All right, so this is sort of what I'm thinking. After using those nut certs on the inner fender liners, I think I'm just going to mark and drill and put in some nut certs in the tube. The only thing is I'm not sure how it's going to work with the round tube, but I think it should be okay. So I don't want to have to put a bolt all the way through the whole tube. Let's give it a go. All right, so now putting the light bar in here is going to be the little tricky part because these nuts that are in here, they want to fall out. So let's see if we can finesse this into place. After struggling for a bit, I got them both in, but what helped was on this side, in case you guys end up getting this light bar, I didn't even notice this. There's a little slot right here where you can slide the nut perfectly in. And that was the best way because I kept trying to feed it in from the back side over here. Yeah, just put it in right there. Seemed to help. So now I can tighten these things down. So for the wiring, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this along this tube and then drill a hole in the top plate right here so we can go down in and run it alongside inside the bumper over here, because where we need to end up getting is this plug right here. This is the factory plug for the fog lights, which I saved the other end to, so we can just splice right into that. All right, so our cord is ran down through this hole right here. As you can see, so we're gonna extend it with this wire right here, and we got them staggered so that way the butt connectors that we're gonna use aren't piling up really thick, so they'll be offset a bit. Put this one on. All right, then we're going to slide our shrink tube over our connections here. So then on our connector here, we are going to take our black wire, which is the ground, and crimp this end on real quick. And then these two right here, the two striped, they went to, each one went to the left, one went to the right of the fog lights in the original bumper. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna twist these together and just make them one. And that's gonna connect to our positive for the light bar. Crimp these down. So another way to get your lengths right when you're trying to stagger these is just to connect the shortest to the longest like this, and then you can lay the other wire, the black wire, out like this and roughly eyeball it, cut it, strip it, crimp it in, and you're good. Then you line up pretty good. Crimp this guy in. Slide our heat shrink back over right here. Gonna make sure we take this as far as we can on this connector. And pop this connector back on. I think this is the way it goes. It's kind of tough to get the right angle though. And it's clicked in. We'll take our wire. This wire is gonna set back down like this, and it's gonna actually go underneath. Should be enough room. We're gonna pull this underneath the bumper right here. Tuck it down in there. All right, so this is the fog light button here on the dash. Let's see if it works. And voila, we have light. All right, so the very last step to finish this front light bar is to tuck this wiring up and away. Now, I wanna do this in a temporary way because I'm not sure what's gonna happen once I finally get my winch in here. So we're gonna use, these are little sticky pads that you can run a zip tie through. So I'm just gonna stick these in here on the inside, and that will hold my wire up high and tight and out of the way. In order to mount the pods, we're gonna be using this bracket. Like I said before, this is in my Amazon link down below if you're interested in this. This particular bracket works with both the JT and JL, but they have pretty much the same thing for JK and TJ and all the various Jeep models. But this part that holds the windshield hinge on, and this bolt right here, and that's how this is gonna mount. And I'm pretty sure we're also gonna have to loosen up this one to lift this panel up enough to get our wire in here. All you'll need is the little Jeep toolkit that they give you to take the top and doors off to get to these Torx bolts. So this big one up here is a T50. So this one that's painted might be a little hard to get to. You kind of have to shove that in. But once you get it in, it comes off really easily. So the paint on this did get a little chipped, but they give you a new little anodized aluminum piece, and it's an Allen head. And that's what's gonna end up going on here. So don't worry about that. You're not gonna need this anymore. This bolt we fully remove, and I think this one we're just gonna loosen. So now, as you guys can see, we're able to pry this up, which is where we're gonna end up feeding the wire in. To install the new bracket, we simply drop in this spacer, set it down on here, get the new nut started on here. The spacer is important so you're not scratching the paint. Gets it up and out of the way. Then they give you a stainless bolt that we're gonna drop down in through here with a washer. We're gonna get this one started. So that is how the bracket is gonna end up sitting. All right, so I think the easiest way to get the wire ran to these is right here on the other side of the hinge is to slide the wire down in there and fish it down. It drops down through this compartment. As you can see, we pull it through right here and then just pull it through underneath this little foam piece. And then we can have access to our wire in the engine bay. With our wire ran through here, we got our shrink tube on, we got our crimp connectors on, black and black, ground to ground, red to white. It would be helpful to use the same color, but sometimes you got to use what's available, so just don't get that confused. Your white is your positive, black is negative. All right, so now that we got our connections made and everything's good to go, we are gonna just carefully feed this wire through here and pull it as we go. Kind of have to push a little bit, pull a little bit to get this fed through. Like that. make sure you leave enough slack. We are going to tuck that like that and just put this lock washer and nut on to hold this loosely in place. That's how it's gonna sit. And the wire, as you can see, it just tucks nicely right up along the hinge here. Now that our wire and everything is good, we're just gonna tighten this all back up and be done with the passenger side. So we're gonna go back to our top removal kit from Jeep. Tighten down this front bolt. Then we're gonna be switching over to an Allen to tighten this stainless hardware that was provided with the bracket. And finally, the hinge bolt with that new aluminum piece, and we're gonna use a little extension to get back in here. All right, there you have it. Now I'm gonna jump over to the driver's side, do the same exact thing. I'm not gonna film that because it's literally exactly the same. Once that's done, I'll get back with you guys and we're gonna wire this thing up. All right, so we got both sides done. We got the passenger wire here, driver's side wire comes across right here, and this is where it connects to the harness. I used a stud that was here to mount the relay, and then we're gonna take this wire back across the top and over to the other side, because this has the wireless receiver, plus it gives us the option, if we want to, we can connect a switch and run that into the cab, and that's gonna need to be on the driver's side. So this is gonna end up going all the way over there, and then we have our inline fuse right here, and we'll just connect our positive and negative terminals to the battery. Then we'll test this thing out, see if we're good to go. All right, so we put some double-sided sticky tape on the receiver, and we're just gonna stick this guy. This gives us access where we can plug in our manual control, and we can run that into the cab later if we want. All right, so the very last thing that we have is we're just gonna connect the positive and negative terminals on the battery here. So we'll do the positive first. All right, so now that we got everything buttoned up, only one thing to do, test it with the remote, see if it works. Wow, okay, those are bright. So we got on, off, we got partial seizure mode and full seizure mode on a pretty cool little keychain. Like I said before, these lights, this wiring kit, I think this wiring kit with this remote was $13. All of those links will be down below in my Amazon page. All we have left to do is wait till nighttime so I can show you guys how bright these lights actually are. This is the front light bar only. And then this is the light pods only. And then this is light bar and light pods. Then this is light bar, light pods, and headlights. This is headlights only.